Hi there, and welcome to the guest list by your host, Steve Guest. This is the first solo episode of the podcast, and I've really racked my brains about what I wanted to talk about. And I think I've picked a subject that is quite often discussed. It's certainly a little bit cliche in terms of sales offices and that motivational expectation. But it's really important to me, and I think quite often we breeze over the subject and we don't actually take the time that I believe is necessary to really think about what we're trying to achieve. So I've entitled this podcast episode "The Power of Why," and for me, it's a really important topic, and I think for everyone that's listening to this, need to just take some time out, whether it's during this podcast as you listen, whether you just schedule some time in to actually think about what it is you're trying to achieve. I think it will put things into context a little bit. If I start, I suppose, with the backstory of who is Steve Guest, what it is that I'm trying to do, the mission that I've kind of been pushing. So, first question, well, why did I get into recruitment? I suppose it comes down to very much the fact that I was a qualified buyer. I was doing reasonably well. I was enjoying my job. I love the detail of being a buyer in terms of all the spreadsheets and the analysing of costs and how product prices are made up. I did enjoy that aspect, but quite often you would negotiate a multi-million-pound framework, get a pat on the back, and then be given the next contract to work on. And at the time, my wife was doing particularly well as a freelance temp recruitment consultant. And the way I looked at it was that the fact that the more effort she put in, the greater her pay and her income. And I wanted to go and work somewhere where actually my efforts were rewarded by the size of the pay packet at the end of the month. And I was in some sort of control of the potential moving forward. So my initial why was very much centered around money. It was about being paid for the efforts that you put in, because I already knew I was motivated to achieve. I always wanted to be better and strive for better. So I think the initial thought process was it was based around the effort. It was based around getting paid for putting the hours in. And then obviously some of you will know the story and my initial journey into recruitment. I went to go and be a recruitment consultant within the purchasing and supply chain sector, and I was rejected. I wasn't used to being rejected, and I suppose this became my fuel to my fire on the basis that I wanted to prove the doubters wrong. So my why became about actually saying, yes, I might be a little bit different. My character traits aren't your typical salesperson, but I knew I could do the role. So my why became about showing the fact that you can be a little bit different and actually deliver on areas that perhaps the market didn't deliver on currently or back in 2006. So my why became about kind of championing the underdog and having the ability to say, do you know what? Yeah, I'm different. Yes, I approach things in a different way. But actually just delivering on the deliverables meant that I could stand out from the rest and actually achieve potentially far more than some of my competitors and colleagues. So that's where it initially started. And it was very much centered around money. I wanted to earn well. I wanted to do well. I wanted to stand out from the rest. I wanted to achieve and attain top biller status. I wanted to get consultant of the month, consultant of the sector, the division, the area, the region, whatever it might be. And at the time, I was one of the quickest trainees to be promoted, one of the quickest consultants to get promoted, and then consultant to senior. And my career progression moved pretty rapidly because I was so set on achievement. And again, as I say, proving the doubters wrong. And I think that gives you the drive to I suppose, set the record straight. I've never been one that has dealt with being told no particularly well. I think when people say that you can't do something, something within me actually lights up, and I think, do you know what, I can do it. I just need to find a way, or I need to, I suppose, create an opportunity that allows or paves the way forward for me to still achieve that overall goal. And I think I've always been on a bit of a journey where I want to achieve things. I want to do things. I've got that drive. I've got that motivation to set out and succeed. And if I think back, 2006 to 2012, it was about personal development. It was about personal drive. It was about personal motivation. It was setting goals. It was going on nice holidays, buying nice clothes, watches, and generally just enjoying life with my wife, and doing all the things that you want to do when you're relatively youthful. And I think we enjoyed that. We enjoyed the earnings. We enjoyed the ability to go out there and go to nice places and buy nice things. We also had, in that space of time, the opportunity to buy our first house, and that's quite often a huge driver for people. Recruitment consultants tend to be at the younger end, and it always seems to be one of those goals that we talk about at interview when people are embarking on their first recruitment consultant role. And I think it's really important to have those sorts of goals ahead of you that you can strive for and achieve. And I think 2012 for me was when our oldest son was born. And I think that the concept of why actually changed somewhat, because you become responsible for someone else. You become responsible for your children. I think the idea of that personal why, that self-development why, shifted a little bit, and actually it became more about creating and building opportunities for my children as they grow up. And actually, I think that was probably the biggest game changer for me, because it sets you on a path where I'm willing to take the risks. I'm willing to take the knockbacks. I'm willing to put things out there that really kind of put me to, or in a place of potential ridicule and critique, because I can take that. And if it's an opportunity to create opportunities for my children as they grow, and tread a path that actually I can say, well, that worked or that didn't work, or if you strive to achieve this, then this is where you can get to. I think it gives you that extra push, because you're doing things and you're motivated, and your reason why becomes far bigger than you as a person. Actually, the push becomes that much bigger, and potentially you can achieve much bigger things on a larger scale, because you're more willing to take perhaps those riskier decisions on the basis that if you fall, that's fine, that's part of the journey. But actually, if you achieve, the ability to achieve is far greater, and actually you set a path for not only yourself, your family, but your children as they grow up. So I suppose the big thing here is your why will change. Your motivators will change as you go through your life journey and your career. And I think that's fine. I think it's okay. And I think in terms of having a set plan in place is really important. Now, back in, where are we? 7 years ago, I set myself a 10-year plan. And I've been working to that, and I've been slowly adding those compound 1% incremental changes to hopefully achieve. But over those 7 years, there's various things that have changed during the course, but they all add to a much bigger goal and a much bigger why. And I think many recruiters, many salespeople, many high-performing individuals that I've spoken to always have a goal that's bigger than themselves. They always have a plan in place. They always have a set path that they've chosen. And it's important on the basis that certainly in the line of work that we do, rejection is very high. And the ability to get knocked back and rejected on a daily basis is just part of the process. And I think if you don't have a reason why that's bigger than that, and you don't have something that drives you through those days where you feel like giving up, those days where you've been constantly rejected and you need that kick up the backside to go and make things happen. If you don't have that, generally you'll give up and you'll go and do something different. We all have good days, we all have bad days, but it's on the bad days that you really understand and get to see whether your plan, your why, your goals are big enough to actually push you through it. I think there's a few questions you have to sit there and think about. First one being, where do you actually want to be? What is it that you're looking to achieve? How do you go about and achieve that? And why is it that that is your goal to go and attain and achieve? And what does that represent to you? If the feeling and the thought process of those questions actually just get you up and get you going, get you to make that first call or that 20th call of the day, then it's strong enough to keep you going. And as I say, if you can set the goals in motion, and you can break them down. So have a 10-year plan, have a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 12-month plan, and then break that down into months, weeks, and days. Actually, it becomes far more achievable because you can start attaining things during the days that mount up into a much bigger picture. Some of you will have worked through and will know about SMART goals, the idea of having specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed goals. And you should always think about these sorts of processes when you're setting things in place. When I interview consultants to come and work with me, I always want them to be motivated. I want them to have that glint in their eye that they want to go and achieve. And actually, they'll tear up trees to achieve that. I want people to come in and say they want to get a deposit for their first house. They're saving for a wedding. They want to go on the nice holidays. They want to go and achieve financial freedom. They want to be the best that's out there. But they've really thought about how they're going to get there and why they're doing what they're doing. Because those are the people that actually will achieve far more than the individuals that are tried and tested and perhaps have become a little bit stuck in their ways or stuck in the process. And that's why whenever I speak to people, I want to find that element that really kind of kicks them into gear and actually moves them to be doing things that, I don't know, sometimes perhaps it's not within their comfort zone. I quite often talk to people on this podcast and where I've been interviewed on podcasts, and life is a journey. And as the podcast last week with Andrew Silito, you only get one shot at this life, so go and make it happen. And a lot of this happens outside your comfort zone. You're not going to go and do things or trial things that you haven't done before if you haven't got something that personally pushes you to achieve a higher level of existence. And that's where trialing and doing things where you potentially could fall on your face and people could have a little go at you or say things to try and bring you back down. This is where the power of why really has its huge advantages. And I think because I'm so determined, I'm so motivated to make things different, and the missions that I kind of set up are far greater than me as an individual. But the potential over a longer period of time is that more people add value, more people can build from the content that's created and actually go out and achieve more. It's actually a fantastic journey to be on. If you haven't read it yet, and this sort of topic is of interest to you, then I would strongly suggest you go and read Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's a great book, and it really starts you thinking along the lines of what it is you're trying to achieve. What is it that propels you forward to go and be a successful person in whatever you do? But until you sit there and you actually have things in place, quite often you'll just kind of go with the motions and you'll bumble along each week and not really achieve the things you set out to achieve. And ultimately, once you've got that reason why, so let's say you're looking to buy your first house, and that is your motivation. You want to earn lots of money and you want to go out there and buy that first house to settle down. That's a great goal, but actually it means nothing until you've broken it down. So how much is the house you're looking to buy? How much deposit do you need to go and buy it? What is the figure that you're looking to achieve? Write the number down and then work out backwards from that figure how you're going to achieve it through increasing your sales, achieving what you set out to achieve, how much commission do you need to achieve, what's the realistic time span for you to buy that first house. Are you looking to buy it within the next couple of months? Is it a 12-month goal? How do you get to that deposit over 12 months? Build it up so actually it's achievable. It's something that you can go out and attain. Make it a SMART goal. Make it that reason why, that actually every little element that stops you from doing something, you can knock out the way. You can knock those brick walls down to go out and achieve what you need to achieve to go and get that goal. Once you've bought the house, what's the next move? It's no coincidence that over my 15-year recruitment career, the biggest months that I've achieved have been where there's a big milestone. So our wedding, buying our first house, buying our second house, setting out and achieving the financial freedom 10-year plan, all has points along the way where I know what I need to get to be able to facilitate that and achieve what I'm setting out to achieve. Without that setup, without that plan, as I say, you will bumble along. So I'd be really interested to get your feedback on today's podcast. As I say, I'd like to do a few solo episodes, so I'm keen to know what you think. There's lots of guests lined up over the coming weeks, and I am genuinely excited by the conversations and the interviews that will be going out there. But I'm also keen to get to know you as my audience, and I'd like to know what subjects you'd like me to talk about and what you'd like to see as part of this podcast. I hope today's episode has been useful and has got you thinking, and has put you in a place where you need to really start writing things down and having set goals and a pathway forward to go and achieve what you set out to achieve. So let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed the podcast, make sure you leave a review on Apple, Spotify. Obviously, you can watch the recording on YouTube as well. I look forward to sharing the journey with you. Take care, and I will see you all soon.